Is for joining us, to the members of the media present in the room today. To those of you who are joining us, whether by television, radio, or online, welcome to this week's post-cabinet briefing. I have with me this morning the Minister for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Honorable Oliver Joseph. Also with me is the Acting Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and the Arts, Senator Winston Garraway. You would know that's not his usual portfolio, but that's the capacity in which he will speak to us this morning. He will address matters pertaining to the upcoming cricket matches and the developments as it relates to the National Disaster Management Agency. But we will start with Minister Joseph. And his topic this morning will be the recent visit paid by a high-level delegation from the International Monetary Fund, which was headed by the Deputy Managing Director, Mr. Tao Zhang, and what that visit has in terms of implications for Grenada, the advice that would have been given by the team, what that means for Grenada going forward. Minister Joseph, without any further ado, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and let me welcome members of the press and say pleasant good morning to all viewers and listeners. I am pleased this morning to talk about the recent visit at the IMF and what they had to say about Grenada. But in order to understand fully, I think you need to get just a background to where we were, to where we are now. Because unless you have that sort of context, you wouldn't fully understand the gains that we have made. So briefly, we came back into office in February 2013 and met a situation where the economy was in decline. Unemployment was at 40%, debt to GDP ratio 108%, a recurrent deficit of 18 million, and no primary surplus. So we had to correct it. So we set about correcting these issues that were affecting us. And we designed a homegrown structural adjustment program in order to address these issues. And it was supported by the International Monetary Fund. So sometimes I get the question, why is it that you need the support of the IMF? Well, if you know the role of the IMF is to assess its members' economic performance. And if you put out a program and the IMF support it, then other financial institutions will view it as being credible and give you support. Because remember, what we went into the fund for was what is called the extended credit facility. Now, every member have a certain amount of quotas that they can use. We did not go for balance of payment deficit money or anything like that. And because of this, we were able to design our own program. And that is why when we were looking at the public debt, when we came in, 70% of every dollar that was collected in revenue went to wages, salaries, and pensions. And we had to get that down to 50% in the 3 years. Well, I'm pleased to report that after the 3 years, we got it down to 46%. And how did we achieve that? What the IMF will normally advise you to do is, since 70% of every dollar going towards public sector wage bill, then the quickest means to do is to cut the public sector. But we have said to them that we will not cut the public service. Instead, for every 10 persons that retire, we'll hire 3. And we will have a policy and recruitment in order to manage the levels in the public service. I know there are a lot of skeptics that say we could never achieve that. But as I said, we did better than even the target that was set by reaching the under 50%. But in order to achieve most of the targets that we set, we put in place a fiscal responsibility law, the FRL, which I'm sure members of the media are very familiar with now. You heard spoken about all the time, where we put in law benchmarks. You know, in my conversation with other ministers in the region, they have said to me that they will have this as a policy document, but not in legislation. Because if you put it in law, then you have to obey it. Because if you break it, then there are consequences. So that when we have demands from public sector unions for increasing wages, for gratuity payment, for pension, we could only do that and within the ambit of the fiscal responsibility law. Because if we break the fiscal responsibility law, there are serious consequences. All the IMF have to do is put out a statement saying that Grenada break the fiscal responsibility law. It is spending more in public expenditure. He has broken the public expenditure rule. The debt to GDP ratio will not be achieved. And therefore, if the IMF put out a statement like that, then you do not get support from other financial institutions. So the millions of dollars that we were promised to get from the World Bank and the European Union and the Caribbean Development Bank, they would not give that to a country that is not disciplined. So the cabinet has taken a decision that we must maintain fiscal discipline going forward. In other words, we must protect the gains that have been made over the last 5 years. As a member of the government, as part of the team in the cabinet, I am very, very pleased with the outcome to see where we are today. We have brought down unemployment from 40% to around 21%. The debt to GDP ratio from 108% to 63%. And our goal is to bring it to 55%. Now, if we maintain this level of discipline, stick to the fiscal responsibility rule, while ensuring that we provide the best services to our people, then we can, at the end, make some adjustments. But for the time being, we still have to stay the course. And the IMF visit to Grenada last week highlighted the fact, if you read the comments of the Deputy Managing Director, praising Grenada for all that it has achieved and using Grenada as a model for other small island developing states. Because if you have commitment, a dedicated team of people, then you can do it. Also, what was given a lot of credit to, the model that we use where we involve the social partners. Remember, we have the Committee of Social Partners with the private sector, trade unions, the churches, the NGOs, civil society coming together and recognizing that we must deal with the problem that the country faces and working to build this country. And they must be given a lot of credit for that. You know, this model, a lot of countries cannot get the trade unions and the private sector and the churches to come to the table to discuss it. But we are able to do that in Grenada. We want to really commend all the stakeholders for the role that they played in ensuring that we overcome this difficult period that we went through. So today, in 2019, where we are, and we've seen growth of averaging 5%. Usually during a structural adjustment program, you do not see growth in our economy. But our economy was able to grow. And I'd like to explain where the growth came from. Because if you talk about growth, then in order to people to understand fully, well, where is this growth in Grenada you're talking about? First of all, construction grew by over 40%. And that could be seen all over the island. Not only the construction of new hotels, because some people tend to believe, well, only hotels? What about all the houses going around the country in the aggregate? They are more than when you build 2 hotels, you know. So over 40% growth in the construction sector, tourism sector, 20% growth in the tourism sector. In the services sector, 10% growth. So because of the growth in these various sectors, overall, Grenada was able to achieve over 5% growth in its economy, the fastest growing economy in the entire region, as confirmed not only by the IMF and the World Bank, but by regional institutions, ECCB and CDB. So what I'm telling you, these are the facts. These are not my view. These are the facts that put out by reputable organization. Why would the IMF want to put out something to make Grenada look good? They have no interest in Grenada. They service the member states, and they appraise the member states, assess the performance of member states, and give a report on it. So if we do not continue to protect these gains, as I mentioned earlier, we could be in real difficulty. No one wants to see us go back to where we came from. So if we agree on the fair example and payment to any group of workers, and we decided, okay, we do not have all the money this year as they suggested, that we could pay it over a period of time, then what you're doing is getting into debt, you know. Because if I owe you $1,000 and you say, all right, well, you said to me, you cannot pay the $1,000, so give me $200 now and pay me $100 over the next 8 years. I still owe you $1,000, you know. But you just give me a longer time to pay me, so I'm still indebted to you. And that will affect the debt to GDP ratio. So it is important to understand how these things work. We have said that we want to see improvement in the lives, in the living standards of people. We have paid over $110 million out to public sector workers union. We have given a commitment to restore and reform pension, and we have delivered on that by paying $7.7 million to 56 retirees as gratuity and pension. We have put on the table 70% pension minimum for workers retiring. All this because we recognize the need and the role that workers play in this economy. But we have to be concerned about all sectors. We have to be concerned about the poor and vulnerable in our community. We have to make sure that we allocate money for houses and house repair program. That's the biggest challenge in Grenada, you know. And that in my constituency, when I go there, 90% of the people come to me is about housing, 90%. And the other members will tell you that members, the parliamentary representative, so it will average maybe, I'm sure the average will be about 80%. So we must focus on improving people's living standard by allocating money. People ask for better health care, where we need to have money to allocate to the health sector. And so therefore, in the allocation of the resources that we have to ensure that all sectors are taken into consideration. So it is not that the government is doing well now, as I've heard, boosting our well and the economy is growing, so why we can't pay? Well, the other side of the coin is we need to take care of other people in our society and not just one sector. So the IMF was high in praise, and they are using Grenada as a model, as I said, for other small island developing states. They have commended the government in these measures, in the measures that we took, and the prudent fiscal management that we have undertaken, because we must ensure long-term sustainability of our economy, and therefore we are in a good position. We're in a position where we need to keep and we need to maintain all the gains. So as we continue to provide and assist people in Grenada, we as a government must be mindful of the fact that if we breach any laws, if we deviate from the commitments and the path that we are on, because the serious consequences that may have, and we do not want to get into that situation. And so we are very pleased as a government with the visit of the IMF team and the report and the praise that they all showered on Grenada. And Cabinet has taken a decision to steer the course and to keep the economy and the sound fiscal part.
Thank you very much, Minister Joseph, for giving us an update today on the IMF visit and the significance of what they would have said for Grenada continuing to maintain the path that it has taken as it relates to the growth and development of the local economy and preserving that for the future, sustainable future of the country. We will allow Minister Garway to speak before we get into the question and answer section. And in that case, then we will take questions for all of the subjects that are discussed here this morning. So, Minister Garway, the floor is now yours.
Thank you very much, Press Secretary Robinson. I want to greet Minister Joseph, who is here with me, and to you media practitioners and those out in radio line or TV line, good morning to one and all. And we're talking all that is cricket. As you know, Grenada is quickly putting the final touches in place to host the 2 one-day games between Cricket West Indies and the visiting English team on February the 25th and 27th. It is our desire, that is the National Organizing Committee as well as the local organizing committee, to put on a great spectacle for all our visiting friends. As you are aware, within the Caribbean, the English cricket team seems to carry the greatest and the largest number of followers. And having them returning to Grenada 4 years since they were last here in 2015, I think is a plus not just for the Cricket Authority, but Grenada on a whole. When we just cast our minds back in 2015, the celebrations, the parties they've had, the spending, and the just moving around the country and all that they have done signal to us that this destination is not only safe, but this destination is very welcoming and they feel at home. So having them here at this point in time is testimony to what we have done back then. And as organizing committee, you want to ensure that they repeat the experience or probably have a greater experience. So we put in all the measures in place to ensure that that happen. Our biggest concern at this point in time is our people coming out to enjoy the spectacle. You have a facility that can accommodate up to 16,000. So you want to fill the stadium out. I come close to that. As you know from the West Indies cricket team, Chris Gale, this might be his last year playing a one-day international for the West Indies team on our soil. And you know he liked the stadium. He has scored quite a lot on this ground. So we want you to come out and be a part of his send-off, because he has been saying it for the longest while that this is his last year. So we want to make sure that it's a memorable experience with Gale coming to the National Cricket Stadium. To kind of create that buzz and lift that hype, for this to happen, you must have people in the stadium. And the government has taken the decision, and the cabinet has taken the decision to award every public officer who holds a ticket time off to go see the games. So you have Monday, the 25th, and Wednesday, the 27th. But you must present your ticket to your permanent secretary, who will ascertain that, yes, you have a valid ticket, and to give you the time off. We also want you to be a part of creating that experience for a young child. As you know, every adult who purchases a ticket can receive, or should receive, a ticket for a child under 12. So we're asking our officers, when you go purchase your ticket, ensure that you receive tickets for someone that is under 12. And we would like to offer those tickets to our primary school students. As we're on that, the CWI made available initially to the country some 300 tickets for schools, 150 per day. But that is a drop in the ocean. To tell you the truth, I think it gave the authorities within the school more headache than anything else. Who would you give? Some were saying, well, let us give it to the cricketers, but you have, obviously, it's 23 secondary schools, so you have more cricketers in those schools than the tickets you had. So we made an application to CWI asking for consideration. And they have agreed, and they've increased the number allotted to our schools by 275 per day more. So we're looking now at, for each day, the free tickets for our school children, it's 575. As you were told before, we also had specials for our senior citizens, those over 60. All they had to do was to present themselves at the ticketing outlets at this National Stadium with an ID, and they will be presented with a ticket, a free ticket. And persons who are of the view, so long as you're over 60, you're entitled to a ticket. No. It was a quota system. So Cricket West Indies offered up front 300 per day. The ticket went on sale on the 11th, Monday 11th. And by Wednesday, all of them were out. We also made a request to Cricket West Indies and say, listen, our senior citizens, and probably might be saying the same thing too, this is the last year for Gale, we want to see Gale. So we want more, and they agreed and give us 400 more, 200 per day. But as of 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon, there were only 40 remaining. So my senior citizen, you have to, well, I'm not sure if there are any more, but we were saying it is going as hot bread and butter. The senior citizen want to be there. We will try to make sure that the experience that you will have within the destination is a life-lasting one. And come the 26th, on a rest day, we will be putting on, and I say we, the Cultural Foundation has been given that charge to put on the best after-party lime that is a part of cricket. So we call it the Taste of Spice, and that will be on the Carriacou from 6 to 10. And the Taste of Spice will be a recreation of Carnival. So just think about it, all the artists that is available. So we have, I was told, Lava Man will be on island, and as a matter of fact, he will be launching some new song during that period. Taste of Spice, he will be one of the acts. Inspector is around, he will be one of the acts, and a number of our cultural artists will be on. And it's a good probably Romain, because we know what is happening in Trinidad at this point in time, which 5 of our cultural ambassadors, the soca artists and the likes, are creating that big wave in Trinidad. Well, some people say it's more than a wave. They're running away with everything, you know? So let us give them something more to run with. That Taste of Spice experience, we want our visitors to really have a truly pure Grenada experience. And our people will have to ensure that this happens. I remember in 2015 when I walked through the River Road area, and I've seen the huge British flag. And it's like they took over that little area, the guys put up the shop, and I'm looking forward to this. As a matter of fact, the British flag is up already. So I'm saying all this to say that the experience that they will have depends on what we put on. And I want our people to continue to have clean and pure fun. The experience of cricket is and should be a life-lasting one. And they should always remember when it comes to pure Grenada that we go all out to ensure that they are happy. And they don't have to be concerned as to if they stay up all night, because they are safe. And that has been demonstrated before. Let me just give an idea as to the number of tickets that have been sold so far. So hence the reason why we're making this push. As of 2 p.m. yesterday, for the third one day, the local ticket sales we had approximately 1,350. And for the 4th, we had 1,200. So we need people to come out and to be a part of the experience. And as you know, you get in the price, the quoted price that is seen there is reduced to half price for locals. So on the posse stand, where I know most of the young people like to go because of all the activities and so forth, I was told there were going to be a DJ and the likes and so forth. Yes, it will be $20. So I'm looking forward to the place cram out. As it relates to some of the activities during the break time, as you know, during the celebration of our 45th anniversary of independence, Prime Minister did announce that a stand will be renamed or named after Devon Smith. At the break, on the first day, we will do the unveiling of the plaque for that stand. So I'm hoping the St. Patrick's Posse will come down to be a part of this live event. Also, a plaque will be unveiled in the name of Junior Murray and Roy Lewis for the stand that they have. So a plaque will be erected in their stands. This will be, as I said, the biggest stage to do this, because that's where they have garnered all the fame and the likes and so forth, and that is what the game is given back to them. And I trust that quite a lot of us, Grenadians, and even foreigners, will come to be a part of this experience. As it relates to the outfield and so forth, we are very happy as to where we are at this point. On Friday, I was there when the cricket operations officer from CWI was on the ground doing the inspection, and she was very pleased as to the state of progress we have made from our last visit in December. Yes, so we're extremely happy. There are a few, I would say, little things that are going to enhance the aesthetics within the buildings, as you're talking about the players' dressing room and the bathroom and the likes and so forth. Those minor things that just has to be taken care of, and I believe by Saturday everything would be ready for when the arena will be handed over to the GCA, who will then hand it over to CWI. The scoreboard, we're almost ready with this. The replay screen, it should be handed over on Sunday. So we are very much elated as to where we are at this point in time, and we do believe we are ready to welcome the world in one of the greatest spectacles that we have in Spice Country. I want to end my presentation on something which, from a NADMA perspective. You know, in 2016, NADMA worked along with the Japan Grant Aid for Economic and Social Development Program. And primarily during that period, we were looking at implements and equipment that will assist in reducing the risks posed by climate change. So everything as it relates to disaster risk reduction, we worked on that, and we put a proposal together which our various stakeholders were part of. So we interfaced with them as to what they think they will need towards assisting in this regard. And yes, today we are seeing the fulfillment of that project, because some of our departments are receiving, our stakeholders are receiving equipment. I take this because I want to place on record my appreciation for the former coordinator of NADMA, Mr. Terence Walters. It was in his time that we did this, and today we are reaping the fruit of it. And I want to say a special thank you to Mr. Walters for the contribution he has made towards us securing those facilities. Just to give an idea as to what we have received so far and what is to come. In as much as we are responsible for in a lot of sense, moving persons from place to place in the event of a disaster, an impending disaster. And we have persons with disabilities. As you know, we are right now in the process of upgrading some of our shelters to accommodate persons with disabilities. We thought it was necessary to have a vehicle conducive to carry persons with disabilities. So we are expecting, if you want to say a bus, will be delivered later this year for that purpose. As it is right now, the Grenada Red Cross would have received a cargo truck for work within the Red Cross community. The Grenada Ports Authority would have received one as well. We also have the Ministry of Communication and Works or Infrastructure Development receiving a mini asphalt paver, and I think this is extremely important for us. Also, the Grenada Ports Authority received an oil fence and an oil skimmer, as well as a high pressure washer, and that is to deal with in the event of an oil spill. And I'm going to say to you, when I became the minister responsible for disaster management, the committee that was responsible for oil spill and the likes and so forth was not functioning. And I remember Mr. Joseph from Port Authority being clamoring, something has to be done. And then I took it up. Today the committee is up and running, but we are seeing fruits of his pushing and our desire to ensure that we provide the necessary equipment that could take care of almost any eventuality. So this set of equipment that will be able to protect our nearshore and offshore in the event of an oil spill has been seen as a great piece of innovation, or piece of well, the direction where we want to go as it relates to protecting our state. And I am extremely elated that we have received this so far. And there are a number of things that is on its way. We also had the Ministry of Health receiving a field hospital, because we do believe, yes, you have the ambulance that will go from place to place, but there might come and become necessary where you will have to do more than just stabilizing a person on the location of the injury. And we did ask for a field hospital, which we received. So quite a lot more will be coming on stream during the year, but I just want to say that every stakeholder received something. We had, and let me see, Carriacou and Peter Martinique, they receive a piece of equipment within the medical facility, an incinerator. So they would have gotten this. So I just want to take this opportunity to say a special thank you to the government and people of Japan for the continued support for the development of our country, and we look forward for continued cooperation with the government and people of Japan. Thank you. I think I'll stop here.
Thank you very much, Senator Gary. He obviously wore both hats this morning in his substantive appointment as Minister responsible for disaster management, and also in his acting capacity as Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and the Arts. So now that the ministers have concluded their opening statements, the floor is now open, members of the media, to take your questions. As per usual, please identify yourself and your organization or media house before you ask your question.
Calistra Farrier. I think they call me a freelancer. Mr. Garraway, can you tell me what we're doing? We've got a field hospital. Tell me about our trauma medicine training. Who do we have that's equipped in a trauma medicine who will be able to capitalize on this field hospital?
Thank you very much, Calistra, and I am indeed elated to respond to your question. It's a long time I haven't seen you already.
Been hiding.
Let's put it this way. The Ministry of Health, and in particular the General Hospital, has been going overboard and making a lot of overtures in recent times to ensure that the quality of healthcare and the experience our citizens and even foreigners receive at the General Hospital is of the highest level. And so we have a department where, talking about trauma, the head of the department, Dragon, who has been doing human service, working with his people and his staff there to ensure that in terms of responding to issues where you talk about serious injuries and so forth, we have a cadre of persons to do that. Of course, the ministry continues to move forward and to ensure that we have the requisite number of persons with the skills and so forth to be able to respond adequately. But as you do know, this is a work in progress. You do need, as time goes by, persons to be on the system. But I must indeed say, in recent times, just for example, this year alone, with the normal complement of persons getting medical scholarships to go training at St. George's University, to ensure that we have a cadre of trained professionals to deal with healthcare in the country. This year, we have seen an increase by 8. So the objective here, and the government has consistently been saying this, healthcare is a priority for this government, and we will go all out to ensure that we have the competencies around to take care of whatever eventualities.
Okay, sorry to beat this to death, but we have a field hospital here now. What I'm trying to get is, I understand government is committed to good healthcare. They're supposed to be. What I want to know is, what cadre, as you said, of personnel do we have here? What team? Do we have a trauma team in Grenada? We have all of these accidents happening, and people are dying on the side of the road because there's nobody to administer that kind of emergency medicine or even to treat those kinds of traumas before they move on to the next round of medical care, whether it's surgery or whatever. Do we have people trained? And if we do, apart from Dr. Dragon, who is trying to do on-the-job training with his people, as you seem to have said, but do we have anybody? How many people do we have? Nurses and doctors, please. And if we don't, please tell me what government's plans are to specifically direct some of the people that we are giving government scholarships to towards that area of training in trauma medicine.
As I've said, yes, we have persons who are trained at this point in time and responding adequately. As to the number of doctors and nurses, I'm not in a position to give you that, but I do know the department is equipped with trained personnel who can immediately respond.
What about future plans? Are we giving, or everybody's going to study and then put up their shingle to give out that?
As I've said to you, this year is the first time I've seen so many more young persons clamoring, calling on the government to give them support as it relates to medical training. And you have a complement of 20, and this year we had 28 persons.
To what extent is government trying to direct this training so that we have people trained in the areas that the country needs, which is usually how scholarships are done?
Well,
since we're talking about health.
Well, in as much as, okay, fine. So these people will go into the department and do medicine. And from there, then they're going to branch off into areas of specialty. And
Yes.
that is the normal course. So you'll have that is happening. So we obviously will direct them. When the time comes as to specializing in certain areas, we will be able to do that.
So maybe the Minister of Health might be better able to answer this, but basically what you're saying now is that while government is very elated to have a lot of doctors trained, and it really looks good for us as a country because we've got a lot of our sons and daughters as doctors, we are not necessarily yet specifically guiding this training to actually benefit us.
I think this is, you're not correct to say that.
I mean, people are getting scholarships, and it's
No,
great. A lot
you're-
of poor people's children are getting scholarships,
Okay.
but are they going to
Are
be
we,
able
are we
to
going
help
to
the
allow the
country?
minister some time
Okay.
to address the question? And
Okay.
I think really that these are matters that will be specifically addressed more informatively by the Minister of Health. You would appreciate that each ministry has its specific responsibility. So getting into the technical details of questions like that, I would suggest that they're taken up with the Minister of Health. If you want, we can have a sit down after. You channel the various questions, and I seek to get to the responses that you require from the relevant minister.
I prefer to ask my questions directly. Thank you very much, Press Secretary. I don't doubt your abilities, but in this case, you understand why I would have to ask and get my answers myself.
Noted.
Thank you, Senator Garraway.
You're most welcome.
Okay, good morning. Harina Perry from MTV. Sorry for the voice. Cold is killing me. To you, Senator Gawe, just a question as it relates to Japan and the help that they have been giving us over the years. You spoke about a recent donation that they did give to us that it relates to equipment in the Ministry of Trade and Works, Ministry of Works, I think. I know that they also gave a grant. I think it would be 25 million Japan yen. I think it equates to 611,000 EC, somewhere around there. Where does this fund go towards, and what would it be used for?
What I think you're asking, and you partially answered the question, the grant that we've received, yes, is just over $800,000, and that is 800,000 US dollars. Yes, and that is what has been used to procure all this equipment that you're seeing.
Okay, so just to clarify, the money was for the equipment, and it was not a separate money for. Okay.
Yeah. And let me just add on this here. You see, and I want to really give kudos to the various stakeholders on the ministries who utilize the opportunity and utilize it well. I was told that in some other jurisdiction where they had similar offers, they only had 3 equipment, and all the money seems to have gone there. Grenada can boast of having multiple bits of equipment, critically needed equipment to develop the entire country. And our mindset here was disaster risk reduction. That was the mindset. So we ensure, like you see, the oil skimmer and so forth. I mean, we are pretty close to Trinidad in the south, and a very, very high frequency area of traffic. If something should happen, God forbid, we have now a schema that can provide us with this level of comfort and security. And the asphalt paver, the field hospital, all those things, I think, it shows that we were on our A game and we look at developing the entire country rather than just one sector. So thanks for that question.
As we're talking about building, I think we're talking about disaster mitigation, and so on. The way we build is an important part of that, I believe. The homes that are being built by the homes that were so generously given to us by the government and people of China, they're now doing some more. But recently, during my investigations, I was told by officials from the embassy that the construction material that was used in constructing the homes was not designed for countries where there's a prolonged rainy season. I was given a portion of China where it doesn't really rain a lot, and that particular method is used there. Is the government aware of that situation, and is anything being done since we're building a whole bunch of other buildings? Do we know whether or not the same method is being used? Because currently the ones that are up and being inhabited, the concrete is porous, which drew people's attention to it being a problem, and hence the admission from the Chinese that they were using a material that. And could you explain to me how is it possible that a foreign government can donate stuff to us without being aware of our seasons? I mean, rainy season, dry season. I was curious about that.
Let me just take this and put it into context. You're speaking of homes, you said the homes that were given before, that would have been built in 2009 or something around there. Oh no, it started way before that. And whatever happens, let us put it this way. We had an opportunity as a government to ensure that what is built is at least can stand up or withstand hurricane force winds and the climatic conditions that is experienced in Grenada. that is a given. So from all the examples, and you've known all the examples, because you've been very close to it, what has happened in one of the set of homes. And we made sure that this time around, what is happening, the materials that will be used, and a lot of the materials have been used from Grenada, local Grenada, sand and gravel and the likes and so forth. So this is to ensure that the final product that will be delivered to our people is one that's going to last for a long time and one that will be able to withstand the climatic conditions that is experienced in our country. I guess Minister Joseph, he is a recipient of one of those set of houses. Probably you might be in a position to say what you're seeing happening, but really and truly, our technical people are working hand in hand with the Chinese authorities to ensure that the delivery is of the standard and quality that we expect.
So no porous walls in the new one?
Well, I don't know if they're porous walls. I'm hearing it from you. You have to be very integral with this to say that they're porous walls. This is the first time I'm hearing that. And it's, from what I know with our Chinese brothers and sisters, they take pride in what they deliver. And to say that it was substandard, that's what you're saying. I can't accept that. I don't think so. I don't think they will do that to us.
Minister Joseph, I have a question for you. You spoke about how well we've done in the structural adjustment in bringing down our debts and so on, all admirable. Could you sum up for me what you believe, and I'm sure that the government and the cabinet has been paying attention to that as they moved along, the impact on the average Grenadian during this time? Have we taken a look at it and you know?
Yeah, well, sure. I'm happy you raised that, because when you have a lower debt to GDP ratio, it means you have more money to spend and other areas. So we're able to give more scholarships, more tuition assistance. We're able to provide more money for house repair. We are able to give incentive to stimulate growth in the economy because we have more space now. And that is why it's so important that we maintain these fiscal measures, because that is what will give you the room. If we got over $108 million in grant because of our performance. With this grant money, we can now pay on unpaid claims that were in the treasury, We can pay the judgment claims that people have sued the government in the past and waiting for money. The cabinet has taken a decision to start payment this month with the money that we have because of the proper management of the economy. We can increase seed payments. So all these things to benefit the people of Grenada. 300 now. So we get this room because we have this reduction in debt to GDP ratio because of the way the economy is performing on the revenue side. We're able to collect revenue to meet our monthly expenditure. And listen, the way the country is run now, every month is like a household. We pay our electricity bill every month. We pay NAWASA every month. We pay all our bills. We pay NIS, give NIS the deduction every month. No longer you see an arrears to NAWASA, arrears to Grenada, arrears to NIS. That is all they do under the structural adjustment program and the way that the country is operating, no different from how the household operating. If you're spending more than you're earning, you need to reduce your expenditure, increase your revenue. We have done that, and we're able to manage in such a way that every month we're able to meet our current expenditure from the resources that we collected.
So you were saying to me that in the years of structural adjustment, while we were trying to get to this point where we are now, there was no impact really, no negative impact on the public, on the regular people.
What I'm saying to you,
and also, can you tell me how I see how the poor and underclass is benefiting from this? You talk about, you know, all the free stuff that people are getting, like the welfare stuff.
Right.
So also tell me about the impact on middle class and the business class and so on, please?
What I'm saying to you is that people, because you have more disposable income, when unemployment drop, is very simple, you know. It's no magic. Unemployment drop from 40 to 20% means that you have more people working. So you have more disposable income. So people are spending more. So as people spend more, government collect more revenue in taxes. But the individual themselves will be able to develop. We
Mister,
see.
I must apologize for interrupting you here, but I do so because you talk about the unemployment figure. Could you tell, do we know what amount of the Imani trainees and engagements account for our employment numbers right now?
All right. Sure.
Minister, just 1 second. Can we ask one question at a time? Allow the minister to answer before we move on. I think this is getting rather confusing. So just allow the minister to respond to the specific questions that are asked, and then you may follow up.
We had a labor force survey that we conduct, and that's where we get the information from. That is done scientifically. The same measurement used throughout. In fact, I had issues with the results because they included people in the workforce from 15 to 65. In Grenada, nobody works at 15, and the retirement age is 60. So when I asked the experts, why is that so, they said because they want to standardize it throughout the region. So they have to use the same information. So what I'm giving you is information that is scientifically done. And if you do your research, you will see it. This is not I coming up with figures. I am quoting the results of a labor force survey, which you can go and check and see, right? So that is the figures that we have, the 20% unemployment.
Okay, I was not accusing you of making up fake news and fake figures. I was actually asking what amount of the Imani trainees account for this survey that was done. That was all I was asking.
No, and my question...
I'm sorry if you misunderstood and thought I was accusing you. I'm not
no,
sure.
No. I'm not saying you're accusing me. All I'm saying it's done in a scientific way, right? And the results are what they are, and that is what we are basing our analysis on.
WPG, I think you have a question.
Good morning, Rachel Bain, WPG 10. My question is to Senator Gawi. As Acting Minister of Culture and Sports, can you tell me why there is no music festival this year? And can you reconfirm the status of the Grenada Invitational for 2019?
Thank you very much, WPG 10, for this question. As it relates to the music festival, and I think you are aware, and almost everybody in Grenada are aware, that it was a private promoter putting on the music festival with support from government. They have made a decision that they are not able to do it this year, and that's the reason why we are not hearing about the music festival. Again, the Grenada Invitational. I would love to see the Grenada Invitational. Again, it's a private company putting this thing on. Private company, and would have received support from government. Government has confirmed before that should the company put its acts together and put everything right and they're ready to do an invitational, we will give support. So we are ready and waiting. I'm hearing on the grapevine that they are coming. They will be having a Grenada Invitational. And I look forward to it as, I guess, much you and the rest of Grenada. But if it's going to happen, the government will provide its usual support.
Let me just add that another private promoter has come forward with a proposal to government to have the music festival. Actually, right now, as we speak, we're engaging this private individual. As soon as Cabinet has taken a decision, it will be announced. But no decision has yet been taken by the Cabinet, but a private promoter is well known for having shows and has come forward and put a proposal saying that he can host this year's music festival.
Minister Joseph, I have a question for you. It's with regards to Ruel Edwards' investigation. His lawyer, Kajeton Hood, says he submitted reports to Cabinet, but it was never submitted. Can you confirm or deny?
Well, I wouldn't want to comment on a matter that is before the court. As far as I know, the matter has been filed, so I can't make any comment on it.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, ministers, I'll give you a chance to make some very brief closing comments before we wrap up this morning's press briefing.
Well, thank you very much, Presec, and thank you very much, the media, for being here. And I just want to encourage the Grenadian population that for the cricket games, 25th and 27th February, the National Cricket Stadium, we should come out in our numbers. And one thing that we're known for is our excited way, a lavish way of really celebrating, having a celebration. So, I know guys in the power system will come with the oil long and the likes and so forth. Please do, come with us. Your conch shell, come with it. Let's have that experience of a lifetime that persons around the world will want to be here when it happens next time. So I'm looking forward to these 2 days of cricket, and the spectator population will increase, and we're going to have wonderful cricket in the outfield. A bird is telling me a lot of runs will be scored. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Let me just say thanks to the media for this coverage, and to the stakeholders, the Committee of Social Partners, and all citizens of Grenada. Thank you very much for the support over the last few years, and we look forward to your continued support. Together, we can build a better Grenada.
Thank you very much, Honorable Oliver Joseph and Senator Winston Garraway, for being the guest at this morning's post-cabinet press briefing. To you, the members of the media, thank you again for being present here this morning and for your questions. And to members of the audience, whether radio, television, or online, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to tune in again next week for our next briefing. I am Press Secretary Philomena Robertson. Have yourselves a pleasant day.
Tomorrow's future is here today. Friday, April 5th, Kirani James Athletic Stadium. National Secondary School Games. Run, throw, jump. National Secondary School Games 2019. Your games, your future.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Tomorrow's future is here today. Friday, April 5th, Kirani James Athletic Stadium. National Secondary School Games. Run, throw, jump. National Secondary School Games 2019. Your games, your future.
Friday, March 1st, for the first time in our nation's history, 5 of our soccer stars are in the finals. Fantastic Friday. Boys talking and where you from? Grenada, our boys are in Trinidad. Who can't make it down? We'll be heading to the Butchers playing field for the International Soccer Monarch Finals viewing party. One big venue, one large vat, viewed by thousands on one massive screen, coming through a concert-ready sound system, putting you in the center of the action, as if you are actually there. Admission free, absolutely no vending. Which one of the Majestic 5 will bring home the title? Friday, March 1st from 8 p.m. You've got to be in the action. Presented by the St. George Northwest Organization. Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
For there is a wind of change, it blowing through the Spice Island.
Listen to the people, Mr. PM. Don't play with the Grenadian people, cause the win is turning around. That's all. Like all you did, only plan how to win. And after that, all you can do a thing. At all, poor people balling, they can't eat a meal.
Yeah, you remember that one?
Like all you deaf and can't hear that still.
Yeah, 5 years ago today, Devon. Well, nah, you was on another side. I was over here. So,
All them could start, but prepare yourself and bang your belly, cause the wind turn around.
that was my team song, boy.
So I said the wind of change, it blowing in the next direction. Man, the wind of change, it blowing back where he came from. Hear the people out on the streets. We want kids, we want kids. Man, they say they're tired, they can't take it. We want kids, we want kids.
Yeah, you can't take it standing up, go sit down.
We want.
Oh, there are no seats, sorry. You can't sit down. Sorry.
They can't sit down.
Fix it. We want kids, we want kids. Hear the young men out on the block.
Yeah, it's today, February the 19th, 2019. Indeed, yeah, 5 years to the day of the 2013 election victory when the new National Party would have returned into office. Not would have, they returned into office in 2013. Yeah. Yeah, man, that was a nice one. Yeah. All now, so, man, I read. Man, busy. I'm working hard.
That's an election, as Dr. Mitchell rightly stated. That's an election. I'm a bit puzzled. How the hell you can be in office, right, running the country, and an opposition party come and take all the seats away from you?
Yeah. I mean, March 13th is important. March 13th is coming up. That'll be the first year anniversary of the last election victory. But this one, to me, 6 years ago is the bigger one because you were in opposition. We were in opposition and came into office with everything.
And took back all the 11 seats that you gave.
Yeah. We lend out we lend them for a little while, so you had to take it back. You understand? Yeah, definitely, you know.
I said, walk to them. Them mother. They run the eyes up.
Sonia, stop dancing there.
What them say? NLP on the way. Oh, you mean? It goes like that. We voting for. We voting for.
Even last year, around this time, we was running this tune too.
Yeah.
We voting for.
Yeah, because we was heading down to March the 13th, huh?
That is the party for Halloween. That's what you go do. Let the progress continue. But if you don't like progress, then you could vote for the rest. Check right around Grenada. There is no other leader until Dr.
I want to start 2008. Yeah, I think I'll get them at 2013. No, touch at 2013.
We are the winning team. We are the winning team. Oh, you mean?
Yeah, you had to play that one on the music truck when you head into the rally, you understand?
We are the NNP. We will deliver. We are the NNP. Oh, you mean?
Yeah, you throw on your NNP t-shirt and thing.
We will deliver.
You jump on the truck and in the bus with your flag and you head into rally.
Poverty rising by the hour. You don't see. You don't see everybody sour. What's the first? That is why we bringing back Jonah. How you mean? We will deliver. Everybody.
Yeah, 6 years to the day. There's some people you want to remember today at all, but
that was a hurtful. That was painful.
Boy,
it was.
But Evan, you know, when you look back at it, you say, okay, well, in that space of time, and imagine you get a whole stadium built in that space of time in the mind, less than no time. Yeah, before the next election could come up, you get a whole stadium built. You get, I mean, so much projects and so that have taken place. While other people was mentioning, we do X amount of feet of road and inches of drain.
You're talking miles.
Yeah, come and say miles of that, man. What kind of thing? I mean, come on. Yeah, within this a short space of time, 3,000 young people into actively developing themselves and developing their lives through the new Imani program. I mean, it was just amazing. In a short space of time, you had literally a couple hundred businesses that access small business loans through the GDB through the government program and also those who access through the Imani program as well. So a lot that was done, man.
And what was significant is like Dr. Mitchell and his team getting into office again in 2013. I mean, they were on a mission. NMP was on a mission, to deliver. You talk about delivery, especially in the first 3 years, despite the homegrown structural adjustment program, was on a roll just to deliver to the Grenadian people because so much was taken away from Grenadians between 2008 and 2013 that,
So, tomorrow will be the anniversary of when we swore in the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell as Prime Minister again. Yeah, I remember the first thing he did, go to the back of the Trade Center and meet with the Ministry of Finance officials and so on, and there were one or two people. I think the late Sir Dwight Venner was here and one or two others, so they went to the back and meet one time and started chat. Hey, how we fixing the economy? How we getting this thing working properly? What do we have to do? Unlike Barbados that went the route, and folks, Barbados has just announced again that there's going to be another round of firing. They're going to fire another set of civil servants again. So they're heading into round 3 right now, round 4. Because under the last administration, the DLP administration, they had 2 rounds of firing. Under this administration, the BLP administration in Barbados right now, they've had 1 round of firing, and now they've announced that they're going to a 2nd round of firing again.
Yeah, but the word firing sort of harsh, silly off.
Firing. You were working today, you're not working tomorrow. Firing. It could be harsh because the situation is harsh. And it's harsh, Devon, and Grenada could have taken that approach. The new National Party administration are coming into office in 2013. Unlike a lot of people, while others are speaking of what they think and what they're postulating, and so I can say for a fact, because remember, I was part of the entire thing. So I have a clear understanding of what the state of the economy was when the new National Party got into office in 2013. Yeah, we had various meetings in relation. It was a serious thing. And the approach could have been to reduce the monthly expenditure to reduce the wage bill. And by reducing the wage bill, you could have cut a couple $1 million out of how much you have to spend on a monthly basis and tens of millions of how much you have to spend on a yearly basis. And you could decide you was taking that money and put it directly into housing, or you're taking that money and put it directly into healthcare, or you're taking that money and put it into infrastructure. That could have been the approach of the new National Party back in 2013, but instead, the approach was, no, we can't do that. You can't go and send home people. Let's create opportunities for more people to be employed. And as government, you can't be the ones making people unemployed. That was the approach of the new National Party, because then when you make these individuals unemployed, you as the state then have a responsibility to provide certain goods and services to these individuals because they are unemployed. You can't just let them go into the doldrums and end up into wrong behaviors. You have to try your best to try and assist these individuals. So the approach of the party was, 1, allow the attrition system to go in. People retire, people leave, they travel and that kind of thing, and decide to leave the job and that kind of thing. That would reduce the numbers within the public service. And for every, I can't remember the formula exactly, it was every 10 that go home, you take back, whether it's 7 or whatever, 3 or whatever it was, they take back, there was an attrition policy like that. So it leveled off the number of people within the public service, but still, there are essential services within the public service that you must up the numbers on. So you had to hire the nurses. The nurses that as soon as the new National Party came in, one nurse go to Dr. Mitchell's office and asking for the bushing work. Somebody that qualified, but was not had under the NDC administration. I think some nurses just forget this thing. That you had nurses going and ask for the bushing.
I think they forget. That's a trump card when certain persons come and approve them.
No, but you see, well, you understand. Devon, you're very right too.
No, that's a trump card. They may not be saying anything, but they're waiting.
They sit down, they're waiting. Yeah. Because these individuals will go to them, eh?
Of course.
Nurses couldn't even get uniform allowance. You couldn't get the equipment to work with. And that already having to deal with us, the Grenadian public, and you know we're rough to deal with. We're easy to deal with. Having to deal with the Grenadian public and you still couldn't get the medication. You couldn't get even gloves, and so on. And this is not hearsay, this is not hearsay, this is fact, that these things were not available under the NDC administration. Poor Auntie Anne. She said, up to now, all you realize, all you still can hear Auntie Anne, all you wouldn't hear her.
I remember Auntie Anne had to hire a couple of strong men to raise patients to go up to the operating to go to the operating room.
I know she passed in the gym and get them fellas over.
It's not fun. And let me say, them fellas was fit, you know.
Yeah. That is why at that point in time, you know what people were saying? Yeah, what people were saying at that point in time.
The other day, everybody singing one song. What is singing? Election coming there, you know who they're voting for. You have a kind of chorus they were singing. Let me hear. If NDC win again, we cry it. If NDC win again, we ball it. If NDC win again, we cry it. If NDC win again, we ball it. I know.
Me partner till he meet me, I tell you he vex like hell. He says Spider Grenade and go vote back Dr. Mitchell. I said till he 5 years now you there, you don't have to vex. And Grenadian people are stupid, they know where to put the X and they singing no cookie eye. No cookie eye.
Who you voting? Tell me, who you voting?
What squad? No cookie eye. No cookie eye. Bring on.
Who you voting? Tell me, who you voting?
Instead of NDC walking to build the country, look how they fighting like dog and cat in their own party. Some NDC supporters say they can't take no more, and they make Tillman get so vexed. Till he fire Joe and they singing no cookie eye, no cookie eye.
Who you voting? Tell me, who you voting?
What squad? No cookie eye, no cookie eye.
Yeah, that's what people are singing, you know. Yeah, no cookie eye.
I know, between me and you, those weightlifters that he had in the hospital, they were more healthier than the Ministry of Health, you know.
No, I think some people forget where we were to where we are right now. Folks, remember to like and share the live, yeah? Folks, they forgot where we were to where we are, yeah? Because we were not anywhere close to where we are right now. Yeah, you had the steel structure up there that people just used to point and say, look what keep Mitchell and Boyle for you.
But look at the steel structure now.
Yeah, they pointing to it now.
No, they can't.
Their fingers catch cramp.
Can't.
Yeah, you can't point again.
Can't point.
They stand up in tongue right now, the finger cramp. He inside like crab leg. He can't straighten out. You know, crab leg can't straighten out.
Yeah,
he does only be in so.
Yes, some of them providing that service right in the foot of the hospital there. They can't turn right, eh? Every time they turn right, the eye burning them.
Yes, problems. Yes, indeed, folks. And several things to talk about today outside of that. Yeah, because we know. I mean, we know. I mean, I could go all day. We could just decide to go.
Yeah.
The house solid and the pillars strong. Don't stop the progress. We moving.
It's my anniversary. Give me a chance.
And the pillars strong. Don't stop the progress.
I can't forget that.
That was your first anniversary.
Yes, man.
Don't stop the progress. We moving on. The house solid and the pillars strong. Don't stop.
I'll never forget a partner of mine, Turkey, up there in St. David. I was in the line getting ready to vote. And there was Turkey bringing the elderly and so on and disabled people to vote, going and collecting them and bringing them to vote. And one of the officials there told him that he can't enter with a green sneakers he had on his foot. He was playing, knowing Turkey was playing jab the night before, all kind of thing. And he said, can't enter with that green sneakers in his foot. Turkey say, oh, it's so? Take off the sneakers and he throw it aside. And he started to walk barefoot for the rest of the day to make a point. He work and he bring people to the polling station.
Exactly.
Barefoot. He watch them. He say, I know all you're trying. And if all you feel all you're stopping me here today, all you lie, all you're not stopping me today. And Turkey work for the entire day barefoot. Turkey.
Like a
morning,
ton.
Bro, morning, but nah, Turkey's not easy guy.
Don't stop it. Don't stop it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, 6-year anniversary, yeah? But Devon, we're talking about category of workers that was increased and so on. And the police.
Yeah, congratulations.
Police officers had to patch pants.
Yeah.
Officers only no in line.
And the shoes.
Man in SSU and all kind of thing, you have to get needle and thread and learn to sew, you know, because you have to patch your pants and thing.
Well,
That was what was happening to police officers prior to 2013.
So imagine that was police officers. What about the rural constables? For example, when I used to be in tourism in Grenada, they had 2 rural constables up there working. And they had to bring their old shoes for the shoemaker to patch it up for them to wear, you know, with a uniform. You know, imagine that.
And you know, instead of that now, look what happened. Yesterday, you had 125 officers going up in rank.
Yep.
Yeah? And I want to congratulate each and every one of you hard-working officers out there.
All of them.
The ones that get rank and the ones that ain't get the rank yet.
Yeah.
Say it again, Devon.
Yet.
Right.
Come in.
Because the commissioner was very clear. He was very clear. This is one set, and there is a group that might be even bigger than this 125 that have to get the rank. But there's a first time in this one too. They have decided to put all the positions as acting. So you're acting corporal, acting sergeant, acting inspector. All positions are in an acting capacity. And there will be a review in 1 year's time based on a new matrix, a new criteria, that they'll be looking at your performance, how you have performed in your new capacity. And I'm glad that I saw a mixture of some of the elder officers and some of the younger officers. And Devon, I made it my business to go and peep. Yesterday, I went and peep. And it's to see when these ladies and gentlemen got their stripes and the little thing. Man, if they was walking, so, you see they start walking. See the chest? I mean, the thing on the hand, you know. But you see the chest, boy.
Haynes, put on your chest, man.
Yeah, boy, right. Haynes is a corporal now. Like,
put on your chest.
Corporal,
sorry,
Haynes
sir.
To you.
Corporal Joseph, my apologies.
Right. Corporal to you. Haynes. Corporal. All right. Put some respect on it.
Yes, I have to. Well-deserved promotion to all the officers.
And a lot of these officers, there's one particular officer who was served for 35 years and just got a promotion. 35 years and finally.
So he could have retired. I mean, she could have retired and not got
no promotion. She has got no promotion. And I'm glad that the commissioner made a point of stating that if you were not promoted this time, doesn't mean that you will not be promoted.
The next time.
It means that in the next grouping, which can be bigger than this grouping, so it might be more than 125 people receiving promotions. Yeah? Because there were quite a few people, there are quite a few corporals. I don't have the list or anything like that. But there were a number of corporals, people that went up from constable to corporal, from corporal to sergeant, from sergeant to inspector, from inspector to assistant superintendent, and from assistant superintendent to superintendent. So there was quite a significant increase in promotions. Usually when you hear promotions, you hear 20-something, 30-something. This time you hear 125. And while you're hearing 125, you hear a next set to come. I think the morale of the officers there would be very high at this point in time. They realize that hard work pays off.
So very soon you may not have no constables but just NCOs, non-commissioned officers in the Royal Grenada Police Force.
But no, you got some constables because on Thursday,
new
at
recruits.
the SSU barracks, there will be the passing out parade of, I don't know what course number this is. Usually they have them by the course numbers. But they're going to be having this is course number what? 42? 42. Any officer that's there can let me know. But this course is going to be passing out on, when they say passing out, they mean they go faint, they mean they passing out, they're leaving the training school and they go into police stations. So these recruits will no longer be recruits as of Thursday. As of Thursday, they will officially be police officers, WPC and PC. Yeah, so police constable or woman police constable, so and so.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think this batch here is one of the bigger set training.
That's the other thing. That's one of the largest. I don't know how many have completed because there's always attrition. You always have one or two that due to medical reasons or other reasons would not complete the course. I know about 60 went in. I'm not sure the size of the graduating class. I would have wished that we had the entire class graduating. You had more females than males this time around.
Yeah, the women.
Yeah. So that's a significant achievement as well.
Yeah.
So you have more females in this one. And you know, you're seeing more and more females in different departments. For instance, the special services unit.
And leading departments too. I want to say, in the capacity as either NCO or commission officers. Yeah.
I saw a few went up to all of the positions. They had quite a few females in between there who went up to.
And that is good.
To corporal, who went up to inspector, who went up to sergeant.
Gone are the days when you only had 2 or 3 police officers, women police officers that was promoted up to the echelon.
I challenge anyone to point to any one of the 125 individuals that were promoted yesterday and say that they don't deserve it. I challenge. I couldn't see anybody there that they could say, what they get you rank for? Or what they get she rank for? All of them more than well deserving, and another batch coming up. But outside of the grouping that's going to be graduating on Thursday, there's a grouping that will be graduating on Thursday. Outside of them, there is also the opportunity now for others to join the Royal Grenada Police Force. The recruitment exams are coming up. The recruitment exams are coming up. So just a reminder, the dates for the police exam for mainland Grenada, it's on the 9th of March. So that's the 9th of March. It's going to be commencing at 9 a.m. So just remember 9-9. The 9th of March at 9 a.m. Right? So the 9th of March at 9 a.m. If you're in the St. Andrew or St. Patrick area, you can head on down to the St. Andrew Anglican Secondary School. Even if you're in St. David, Upper St. David, and you want to go, so those of you in Upper St. David, St. Andrew proper, and St. Patrick, you have the opportunity to go to the St. Andrew Anglican Secondary School and write your exam. You need to carry some form of identification. I think that's the only thing you need to carry this point in time. Some form of valid identification, driver's license, passport, national insurance, but something valid, right? So you're going, that's for those of you in St. Andrew, Upper St. David, and St. Patrick, right? SAS. For those of you in St. George and the Lower St. David, we'll say St. George and Lower St. David. You can head to the Grenada Boys Secondary School in Tantine. I think everybody knows what GBSS is. If you don't know what GBSS is, I think you should go and write the exam. If they don't know what GBSS is,
after 134 years in existence.
If you don't know what GBSS is, I don't think it makes sense you go and write the exam. Take your time. It don't make sense.
It shouldn't be a Grenadian.
Don't waste your time. St. John, those of you in St. John, the wonderful parish of St. John. All right. So those of you in St. John, also St. Mark, and maybe some of you in St. Patrick West, you can head on down to the St. Rose Modern Secondary School. So those of you in St. Patrick West, if you don't want to go across to SAS, you have the opportunity. You could go to in the St. Rose Modern Secondary School in Guelph. You can go on down there and do the exam. All right? Nice. Beautiful. So the recruitment examination for Carriacou and Petit Martinique will be held on the 16th of March, and that will be at the Magistrates Court in Hillsborough, 9 a.m. So Saturday, 16th of March, at the Magistrates Court in Hillsborough, 9 a.m. So some of you might be listening out there in Petit Martinique. Some of you, or as my partner Peranda say, Petit Martinique. But anyway, Petit Martinique, or some of you out there in Carriacou itself, may be interested in doing the exam, and you can do that at the Magistrates Court in Hillsborough for 9 a.m. Everybody in Carriacou who we hear tell others. Because, you know, especially for, I know of some young ladies and some young men over in Petit Martinique who I believe would be excellent in the Coast Guard. I believe they would do an excellent job. They know the waters around our islands like hardly anybody does. And they're within the age range. They're in the 20s and so.
These are the persons that you want. I mean, if they like the opportunity, you want to give the experience to be part of such a unit.
So Petit Martinique, don't be left out. I know we have lots of listeners in Petit Martinique, and I'm saying to you that you may know of a young person that's wondering what's their next move, what career move they can be making, and so. And I see no reason that they can't apply to the Royal Grenada Police Force, and specifically due to their knowledge and so on, attempt to go into the Coast Guard. Yeah, I think it would be a excellent opportunity for them. And you have different branches. You have the Special Services Unit, you have the Special Branch, you have the Drug Squad, you have the Coast Guard,
CID,
Criminal Investigation, the Artisan Squad. You have the section that deals with the mechanic and so the garage.
Yeah, the garage.
Police garage. You have and we had a young lady from that section in here with the Queen Show last year with the the tailor shop.
Yeah, the tailor shop.
Yeah.
And then you have the prosecution department.
Yeah. So somebody might want to be a lawyer. Yeah. Somebody might want to be a lawyer, and so that's a good area. Or they might want to get into the police force and then go and specialize in an area like, for instance, forensics.
Yep.
Yeah, they might want to specialize, or they might want to go into the fire department.
Yeah, another very interesting department again. And then the kind of technology that is available right now, you find a lot of our young persons getting involved in the technical part of the of policing.
Yeah, because the police does have an IT unit.
IT unit, very effective also.
Remember the Financial Intelligence Unit?
FIU. So there's a number of units that we have. I mean,
and we mentioned traffic.
No,
how dare we not mention traffic?
How dare we not mention?
Superintendent Kingston, sorry.
Inspector Thomas, we apologize.
Is Inspector ASP?
Should
I think Mr. Thomas is ASP.
ASP.
I think he's ASP.
ASP. My apologies, sir.
Yeah.
I'm trying to demote you. My apologies.
Put some respect on the name, man.
Apologies. Ma'am, don't eat my head off. It's just a simple error, I mean. But it's a wonderful time for our men and women in uniform. The last number of years, 5, 6 years, the morale.
Especially with this group coming in on Thursday, and then you have a next group that may be coming in by the end of the year, according to the fact that they're having this exam. It means that there's always movement up.
Always.
There's movement up for those, some of them who have been in the service for a lot of years, and so there's always movement. Hey, you know another unit we forget, man? The Special Victims Unit.
Yeah.
That's a new unit within the police force. So supposing now you're a person that has prior training in that area, a person that's interested in working specifically in that area, that might be an opportunity for you. Don't just see the police force as we go in and lock up people. Don't see the police force as we go in and clamp vehicle in town. That's just
specialized units.
Yeah. Listen to all the things that we've called out. The Coast Guard. And remember, Immigration Department is a department of the Royal Grenada Police Force. Immigration Department. Yeah. Well, our good friend ASP Pierre was there. But he's now in Grenville, isn't he?
He's now in Grenville, in charge of Grenville.
Yeah.
Also, too, you have an extended arm of the Royal Grenada Police Force, too. The rural constables. And so, that's an additional arm of the Royal Grenada Police Force also.
Yes, man. So, if you know what happened there, hey, Devon, before we get to Big Stone, there's a very important part of the Royal Grenada Police Force we leave out. And they're close enough to give us 2 Big Stone.
Oh, God, a lot of mercy.
Yes, we'd have to run.
We did a yard.
The police force band.
The music section.
What?
They writing we eyeball it though.
We don't get 2 Big
But
Stone.
them men say, boy, them fellas, what listen, boy, look at us right here. And them men say, call us.
In fact, the inspector in charge, I'm trying to remember, Inspector Lewis. He is now Assistant Superintendent Lewis.
Well deserved, a
Put
leader.
some respect on Soup name.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
The leader of the pack.
Oh, yes, man. Superintendent Aesop Pierre. Not ASP, you know.
Yeah,
Superintendent Aesop Pierre.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He was the parade commander during the Independence Parade Day. Yeah, super handle them, boy.
Watch, if I give you a little thing about, I am still trying to figure
Don't
out
interfere with Super.
how come this man get to like this police thing just so. I mean, growing up, he was not that type of,
That's
person.
exactly the people you need.
And look at it now. He has done
that
himself.
That shows what the RGPF can do
for
you.
Can change up a whole person.
So, folks, you know of some young people that are interested in joining the ranks of the Royal Grenada Police Force. Encourage them. Encourage them. It can mold individuals. If somebody spends 35 years in the Royal Grenada Police Force, it means that something good is happening inside there. They may have their moments. As in everything, you always have the one or two local ones that will give some trouble. But the Royal Grenada Police Force, we must congratulate you all, especially today. We must congratulate you all.
And it's not just a means of employment, but it's a profession for the majority of them getting involved.
Yeah.
And that's good. Because when you look at how I'm proud to watch most of our police officers now, right? They hold the core, how they dress, how most of them conduct themselves, in uniform and out of uniform. You see a big difference over the last couple of years in terms of how they do business, and that is good.
Yes, indeed. Let's take a call.
Good morning and welcome.
Yeah,
good morning, my friend.
Scott, how are you doing? You say that the police and promoted, but you know Godfrey and Judah and like that because Steve and meet up and that, because they waiting for Green to be backlisted and that didn't happen. So when that didn't happen, they will look for little errors and little who they go and beat up and that, because only their program is about negativity.
Of course.
So I guess they were looking for that because they don't get Green backlisted, so they will look for little edge in that to beat up and because take care, man. For St. John's, what did the exam?
The exam is on the 9th for St. John. The 9th. So encourage you.
But I didn't get it date.
Some good, healthy young ladies and young men, ask them to go and do the exam.
I'm not personally interested in that, so I just want to know the date.
Okay, great.
All right, my friend.
All right, take care. Yeah.
And the thing is, sometimes as young people, sometimes we perceive them or sometimes they perceive themselves as not capable of doing it. And I've known of young ladies with 2 and 3 children. They're in their 20s, they have 2 and 3 children, maybe even more. And they have been able to successfully go through the training and they are now police officers. Yeah, and doing a good job at it as well.
Yeah.
So don't think because, okay, I have a child or I have 2 children and are going through all these problems that you would not be able to do it. Because remember, the training and everything that you're going and do now, at the end of the day, you're getting your pension and so, that might be the exact thing you need for when you get later down in life. That might help you be able to educate your children. That would help you in so many ways that I think it is important for you to take the opportunity and make sure that you do it. Nice? Yeah. And we're going to touch a piece again.
Future is here today. Friday, April 5th. Kirani James Athletic Stadium. National Secondary School Games. Run, throw, jump. National Secondary School Games 2019. Your games, your future.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming!
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text
or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Yes, indeed. Sometimes it's more information you're getting, and you have to run and take it one time. So let me tell you all about this one. Yeah, the RGPF Women's Arm, they present Shine 2. That's Police Women Live in Concert. That's taking place on Saturday the 16th of March at the Grenada Trade Center. Admission only $40. We could afford to spend $40 for police officers, men and women. We know Police Week coming up in that timing. And the time is 7 p.m. An evening of music, drama, comedy, dance, and so much more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Police women.
Yeah, man. And watch, I look at this thing yesterday. I look at this thing and, it's such, and in fact, we need to get, Mr. Technical Man, send a message to me. We need to get the speech that was delivered by the Commissioner of Police yesterday. We need to get that speech and play that speech. Because what you had was an independent process of selection for persons for promotion. An totally independent process by the police hierarchy. This was nothing where a minister call and say, well, I want this one, or I want that. Nothing like that. An independent process that can be verified for the promotion of these officers, which is why the commissioner was also able to make the statement that, look, it are more to come. There are more to come. Yeah? I think we have a call online there.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello, sirs.
Hey, sir.
Gentlemen, how are you all doing?
Not too
Good,
bad.
man.
I listen to you all and I laugh along with you all in the beginning of the program. And it's very interesting that you all brought it up that way. A situation that we have in this country has to be, or it was actually, but has to be continuous, where Dr. Kate Mitchell solved so much problem. The problem that we had in Grenada, which I thought would never happen, where the so-called NDC people, and Devon might have been a part of it to an extent.
Yeah, I was a part of NDC.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised to hear it.
Rub it in
your face. You're my boy, You're my boy. Because you're an honest person who can be reasonable about issues. And this is the problem that we have. So, as much as criticism showing up, and Kit Mitchell did some things that are not proper. I know that. But, hello. Let's reality strike. Kit Mitchell is the best, period. And I'll tell you all a story. I was in Parliament one time when Mr. Peters, who was the Deputy Speaker of the House, Francis Alexis, who was opposite on the NDC side. And who was the other person? I can't remember now. But it will come to my mind. The other person was Francis Alexis, and I refer to the two people so far. Who is the other person? I can't remember. In a particular situation when there was an argument in the House, I was there. I sit down there. And the policeman who was the security officer had to put me in the controller. Making me sit down. He tell me sit down. Relax yourself. Because at the same time, I was so angry about this stupid attitude and behavior. Kit Mitchell was making a point to us for us to understand how totish the NDC people are. I'm sorry about that, to have to say it that way. And to the extent that it happened, I was a part of the process, and I stand up and say something. The policeman stopped me. But there it is. Kit Mitchell has been making a point for us to understand. I don't finish with the story. Sorry about that part of it. I don't know if I should even to the extent. But anyway, let me continue the story. Where you had a situation in Grenada where the NDC people was trying to sell Grenlec. Am I right about the name? Because there's a problem in this country with that kind of policy still, you know. Where Grenlec was trying to sell to us the garbage coming from Perseverance to produce electricity. And Kit Mitchell was trying to tell us, and I knew about it before that because I'm a writing person. I write all articles on things that maybe both of you don't know about me when it comes to that. But there was a situation where he was exposing the problem that we're going to have if you're going to have it being done that way. Dr. Fletcher and I was talking about that during the same time. And I could say a lot of things about me and Dr. Fletcher and how Kit Mitchell and...
But we have to kind of speed it up because we're running out of time.
Yeah, sorry about that. But the thing is that we have a genius, and that's what I actually want to make the point about. We have a genius called Kit Mitchell in this country that people are so sometimes angry about him, and they don't know how to handle. They don't know how to appreciate. Kit Mitchell is a genius. I vex with him sometimes. And I'll talk to him about whatever in due time. But Kit Mitchell, we have as a person who solves problems in this country that only a few of us have an idea of what it's about. I heard you said about the guy, when you all sit down or went in the back of the time when he was appointed, and when you all went and talked about issues. Hello?
Not you all, Dr. Mitchell and the Ministry of Finance officials. In other words, before he could finish sign, he went straight to the back of the trade center in a local office in the back there and met with the official. That is how important the economy of Grenada and getting Grenada on the right path was. He didn't leave the building and say, well, we will have that meeting tomorrow. He didn't leave the building and say, well, let's schedule that for Friday. He left the front of the building and went to the back of the same building and started the process one time.
I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. And you having been a part of it, you understand exactly what happened. But to the extent that so much people don't understand it, where in the process that you have a person like him who go to consult and relate to people, no matter who they are. That's what Kit Mitchell is about in this world.
All right.
And people need to understand that. I love the guy. That's my boy. Period.
Okay, my brother.
I vex with him sometimes, but he's the guy.
All right.
Take care, guys.
All right, thank you.
All right, one love.
Take care.
Remember, on coming into office in 2013, you met a situation with unpaid claims to the figure of $110 million. You're down right now to just $10 million. And I dare say, I'm sure that if you look at the period, any of those that go over 90 days, they had zeroed it for those that went over 90 days. But as of January, the unpaid claims in the Treasury are down to $10 million. That's a difference of $100 million in the space of time that you're speaking about there, you know. $100 million you're speaking about. That's a lot of money. And notice that $100 million is not $100 million outside of Grenada. That's $100 million inside Grenada.
Yeah, circulating.
That's the farmer that provide his produce to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
That's the people that supply services to the schools and the health centers and the government facilities. That's the mechanics that do work for the government and waiting on the money. That was the major suppliers that supply equipment to government. Housing material was a major chunk of it. Because certain people went on a spending spree coming down to the last minute there. Boy. What? People get galvanized on board.
And a lot of 50 feet drain and road and thing going. Not miles, but feet.
Feet, yeah.
Yeah, piece here, piece there, piece there, you know?
See how much feet in a yard? They say depend on how much people in the yard. Oh, yeah. Watch. We had to deal with somebody, you know. I see you went on talking stupidness on GBN this morning, but I didn't get to hear.
Randolph?
Yeah, that
Randolph?
Idiot. Yeah. Go attacking the young lady again. No, you see, Devon, and we need to say, before the program closed today, we must say this thing. The attitude of the NDC is that they are good enough to do the wrong thing good enough. In their mind, because they consider it wrong. But that if somebody is not an NDC, they can't do the wrong thing good. What they consider to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because they are saying, and as we say, Ray Roberts should be the last person to talk. He should go and bury his head in the sand on Granans Beach. Not by Silver Sand, but somewhere else. Go and
I like Silver Sand.
You realize you like this?
Yeah, you like this.
Like
so
they know.
That is where you might head.
Yeah, man, go try to go inside Silver Sand. Wait, Papa, somebody tell me the same. If you know the sea inside Silver Sand the other day, having lunch and all kind of thing.
Oh.
They say one of the voices and one of the faces that you was hearing the most against Silver Sands, they was in Silver Sands having lunch, you know.
Wow, that's good.
I don't set foot yet in Silver Sands,
Beautiful
the time
Grenada.
will come. The time will come.
Beautiful Grenada.
Brother, hear that? So Randall go again and trying to give the impression that something wrong, that the young lady is doing something wrong. I don't know what is Randall's problem with young people. I understand what Ray's problem is with young people. You see, sometimes when you're going down to the close of your life and you realize that the length of time for you to achieve certain things is not there, but somebody else has more time, all things being equal to achieve, you just get a little antsy and you're upset and that kind of thing. So every time it comes to a young person having an opportunity, that's why in Ray's mind, every time you're going budget, it was always let them build coffin, let them build coffin, let them build coffin, because that is all he was seeing Grenadian young people as good for. Go and build coffin and go and dig land and that kind of thing. But when it comes to other things, they couldn't see that. They couldn't see young people becoming an integral part of the process of developing Grenada. And that's why you have a problem with Katisha, because you go from left to right. You only hear positive things about this young lady. She's a role model. She's a young lady. She's a successful lawyer. She's successful in her academics. She's successful in her personal life. But you realize people who are successful in academics and their personal life, it seems as though people like Ray and the NDC always have a problem with them.
Yeah.
Look at Dr. Mitchell, successful in his academics. He has a doctorate, and he was a professor. Successful in his personal life, successful in his political life, and they are the biggest problem with him for that. The young lady, successful in her personal life, successful in her academic life, and so on. Right now she's a government senator, yes, but we haven't seen her in a political fray. I haven't seen her on a platform and all this kind of thing. So she's an independent mind, and she has the opportunity now to display her intellect and her ability and so on. But people like Ray and Randall, so strange enough, R and R, and it also goes for rubbish. Yeah, rubbish. R and R, rubbish. These two just not interested in the young lady having the opportunity. But I didn't hear the full thing where you say on GBN today. So we're going to reserve for tomorrow for you.
Reserve comments.
Yeah, you can wait today, but not tomorrow. Yeah? Hey, our artists, remember, they're coming up next week Friday, International Soca Monarch. There is that activity by the St. George Northwest Organization at the Bourgeois playing field from 7 p.m. next week Friday. Not this Friday, next week Friday. So you're watching the Soca Monarch from there.
Yep.
Plus we have the secondary school games coming up. Plus we have kayak mass coming up. Yeah, a lot of things coming up.
And then we have cricket coming up next week, Monday and Wednesday.
Cricket coming up and a taste of the spice in between. So
Carnival in February.
We have a call.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, morning.
Good morning.
You're live. Your live caller, go right ahead. Hello? Okay, I think the individual is listening via the radio and not via the phone lines.
Yes.
Also, a note to those of you in the public, because I realize we're hearing a lot of people attacking Nawasa and attacking Nawasa and attacking Nawasa and attacking Nawasa. And to be fair to Nawasa, since last year, they have been saying to us, store 3 days supply of water at all times. And it's not just during the dry season. During the wet season, you could have a rain event. It could knock out the pipelines. It could flood the dam and so on. When I say flood the dam, like send silt and so into the dam, and it could end up without water for a few days until that is repaired. The dry season, you have these problems. You understand? They say 3 days supply of water, and there's some people calling and claiming that up to 8 days they haven't got any water supply. I know Nawasa is taking note of that. They will get to you all. They definitely will get to you all as soon as possible. But I think it's a bit unfair how some people are attacking Nawasa, because Nawasa stores water. They don't create water. Let's get our part clear. Before we have any part of this discussion again, let's get this part clear.
They store and treat.
They store, they treat. They don't create. So if we go into a dry season, as we're into a dry season now, and you want to continue with your water usage as if we're within the rainy season, then we're going to use out the little supplies that we have. There's nothing Nawasa could do about that. Yeah? If you want to pull a hose and wash down your car every single morning, and if you want to water your lawn and you want to wash down your yard, if you want to go through that process and do that every morning, and everybody thinks the same way, then the little bit of water we do have in the dams will not last.
Yeah, storage facility, definitely.
So as individuals, we have to take our individual actions to ensure that we could survive this, what is expected to be a long dry season, a drought period. We have to take additional care for during this period of time, right? So if you know you just wash down your car every day, try to wash it down less. Don't use the hose, use a bucket.
Yeah, but you know, it's not a
you say get the Devon does say get the river water, but I'm saying don't wash it in the river or near to the area that you could have runoff into the river.
Into the river itself.
Some people have seen some photos of some people trying something. Please don't do that. Don't drive the vehicle down to a point and try to wash it, because when all the brake fluid and the coolant and the asbestos in the brakes, all of these things, they get into the groundwater, and then you're wondering why people getting cancer and different things in certain areas down, because they're drinking the water. Some of them, they're using the water to wet plants and that kind of thing. So let's avoid that. Yeah? But at the same token, let's try to work along with Nawasa instead of cussing Nawasa. Let's try to conserve water as much as possible.
And Nawasa have been always, as Sheldon said, since last year, your supply 3 days, 4 days. But I want to encourage you, in certain areas, if you can store up to a week, 2 weeks supply of water, right there, then you should be good. You understand? Constantly, you know, refilling and everything like that, ensuring that you have proper drinking water and water to do your chores in and out the house. And so we can mitigate all of that. So we just need to pay attention.
Let's just try and be a bit fair
and work together with Nawasa. Work with Nawasa.
Just remember, Nawasa does not make water.
No.
Nawasa collects and treats water.
And distributes.
Anyone, if you look at the year 2019 so far, there has been no significant rainfall.
Nope.
There hasn't been a day that we could say the place rain out and some way flood. No. That last year. Probably about October, November, you could say you had some significant rainfall.
You had 100 and something inches of rain. This last month or so, you barely getting 20.
In fact, if I remember correctly, last month is the driest January on record.
So think about that.
On record. And February ain't look like he going far from that either. Because so far we've had a little drizzle in the night. You haven't had any significant amounts of rainfall. So we have to be careful. And work along with Nawasa. One important thing to do, report the faults. Report when you see the lines burst somewhere and water wasting and so.
Small as it is.
Yeah. Report them. Yeah, report them. Even if you can't get to Nawasa, try and inbox me or message me 4065422. Message me, inbox me, send some sort of message to us.
Send something
so that we can get the message to Nawasa. We know how to get it to them too. Yeah, so that we could get it to them.
Naz, I know up in Willis and Van Dam, you're getting rain every day.
Yeah, that's all your waterfall.
Yeah,
that's all your waterfall up there. Yeah, let me take this call.
Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, Devon. How are everything?
Good, my friend.
Yeah. Well, Devon and Sheldon, I want to say congratulations to all the police officers that received the promotion. They work hard. I want to encourage them to continue working hard. Receive your promotion now is not the end. I want to say congratulations to all and I hope that every one of them keep working hard. Those that are receiving the promotion yet, keep working hard so that your time will reach when you receive your promotion. So God bless to all the police officers. Devon, Sheldon, you will have a wonderful day. God bless you.
All right, my friend.
Thank you.
Hey, Sheldon, I mean, we have been almost out of...
Those that are receiving the promotion,
Good morning.
working hard so that
Hello?
your time will reach when you receive your promotion.
Hello?
So God bless you all.
Okay, we didn't get that one.
Yeah, we have almost reached the end of our program and we have not said good morning to all our listeners and viewers online.
Yeah, oh gosh, don't vex with us.
Don't vex with us. We just,
don't vex with us.
From wherever you California, Miami, New York, Toronto, UK, wherever you are, Grenada.
Boy, next week,
good morning.
With that cricket, it's supposed to have the renaming of the stand and all kind of thing.
Yeah,
well, not renaming, the naming of the stand.
We carrying some cricket live?
I don't think we would be legally able to do that. I don't think that legally we will be able to do such.
That will be not.
Yeah, if we had to carry cricket live, is that we had to carry ourselves over there and watch cricket live.
And watch it live.
And folks, remember, tickets are on sale at the National Stadium. Go and get your ticket ASAP.
It's running out.
Yeah, go and get your tickets as soon as possible. Make sure that you carry ID because once you prove that you are a Grenadian citizen, you get it at half price.
Yep.
So carry your identification, your valid Grenadian ID. As of this morning, I knew there were 1 or 2 of the 60+ tickets left. That's the people who are 60 and over. There were 1 or 2. I don't know if it finished by now because when people hear them, you rush down and get it. You carry your ID and you're over 60. Don't send the ID with somebody. Next thing, somebody take your ID and go and do that. If you could go, you go. Right? Nice. Okay, Popo. And get your tickets and that kind of thing.
Also, Carriacou Carnival. It's coming.
It's coming. We want to get somebody to talk about Carriacou Carnival.
Yeah.
I tried to make a connection.
Rena, I ain't like how you're treating us,
Yeah, but you know it go.
Yeah.
Hey, and the traffic wardens, they're looking nice on the road, boy.
I understand that. And I understand
the traffic wardens looking good, boy.
The women dominating again.
Zim, you picture the traffic wardens there?
The
picture the traffic wardens,
the women dominating. Hannah, send us some photos.
They're looking nice on the road. Yeah. Them traffic wardens are them looking nice. Yes, indeed.
Well, that's good. That's another step again.
But
I
really want to get,
man.
and I think I'm going to promise you all that once we have it, we're going to play the Commissioner of Police address yesterday to the promoted officers.
Yeah.
We're going to have it by tomorrow. Okay, we're going to play it definitely for you tomorrow because it's important.
Very important.
That you hear what was said.
The head
cop. It's important that you hear what was said. Yeah? That process of reviewing by the hierarchy of the Royal Grenada Police Force. It's the hierarchy of the Royal Grenada Police Force and the process that they went through for the promotion of these individuals. Yeah. And also the continuing process, transparent process, and the process that continues right now for the next set of promotions that would be coming up. Yeah? And now we see some people going into the force, and we see some more about to come in, and so it's just a wonderful time. I nearly thought this week was police week, seriously, I nearly get catch.
That is why when you look at Grenada, always remain a safe, peaceful country to travel and to live in, right? Because our security is second to none.
They were actually congratulated on that yesterday as well by the commissioner. Let's say a special good morning to Spaceman, Mr. Adrian Spaceman Mitchell. Adrian, we hope that you're having a wonderful morning this morning, sir. Do enjoy your day today.
Mr.
Remember,
Paul,
6 years ago to the day today, that is when the New National Party was able to do it from the opposition benches.
Yeah, and good morning to the man who defeated the sitting Prime Minister. Morning, Mr. Paul.
Pablo.
How you doing, sir? Yeah, that was sweet victory, man.
Yeah, special good morning to Team New National Party. Love each and every one of you folks. That's all the time we have for today. It's been wonderful being here with you. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
And in whatever you say and do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
Love you all. You'll get them one to go by?
Yeah, one for the road.
We are the winning team. We are the winning team. We are the winning team. And we will deliver. We are the NNP. 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 Grenada Inshida is our. We will deliver. Poverty rising by the hour. You don't see everybody sour. What the first? That is why we bringing back Jonah. How you mean? We will deliver. Everybody. We will deliver. We will deliver. You don't know. People wanted change, so we give them change. No, it's big horrors. They wanted dollars. Unemployment high, for people up slow. For this country, God, and the sea must go. We are the NNP.
Tomorrow's future is here today. Friday, April 5th. Kirani James Athletic Stadium. National Secondary School Games. Run, throw, jump. National Secondary School Games 2019. Your games, your future. Stay up to date with all that's happening with the New National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.